So before we get into our tier one discussion, so in the spirit of, various kind of iPads, iPods, PIDs, PEDs, actually Steve has a video that he'd like to show you, which is about the iRack. Is that right, Steve? Okay. So take it away, Steve.
Ladies and gentlemen, Apple Computer shareholders and investors, may I introduce the founder of Apple Computers, Mr. Steve Jobs.
Welcome, everyone. In the last 3 years, Apple Computers has introduced high technology that has changed the world. The iPod, the iMac, the iBook, the iPhone, the iPicture frame, the iLamp, the iMicrowave, and the iVacuum cleaner. Tonight, I will unveil to you our newest iTechnology, and it will synergize with all of our iProducts. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the iRack.
The iRack looks unstable.
Trust me, the intelligence briefings I got on the iRack are completely credible.
The iRack looks like something we shouldn't be involved with. It looks like you put it together with no directions.
I am confident the iRack will work without any directions or plans of any sort.
Oh, but the iRack looks all shaky. I mean, you are going to fix it, right?
Wrong. This is the iRack as we intended. Mission accomplished. Now I'm going to put our iProducts into the iRack.
No, Mr. Jobs, don't force them in there.
I know what I'm doing. I'm not dumb.
The iRack looks like it doesn't even want those things in there.
Don't worry. I know what's best for the iRack.
Don't put more in the iRack. It'll collapse on itself.
Wrong. What the iRack needs is more things.
You shouldn't be putting more things in. You should be taking things out.
Yeah, get things out of the iRack.
Does everyone here want me to take things out of the iRack?
Yes.
I hear what you're saying, and the answer is no. I'm going to put even more things in the iRack.
But the iProducts don't even look like they're getting along in the iRack. They look like they hate each other in there.
Look, the iRack's starting to slow.
That's just the beginnings of synergy. I will help the process along by throwing the rest of our money at the iRack.
You're ruining the iRack.
As stockholders, we will not support you in this.
I don't care. And guess what? I'm going to put 21,000 more things in the iRack.
Oh, the iRack's on fire.
Oh my God, the fire from the iRack is engulfing the entire building.
Everybody else.
Oh my God. Where's the exit? How do we get out of here?
You can't get out of here. There is no exit strategy. I want you all to stop focusing on the iRack and start focusing on our newest product, the iRAN.
Well, suffice to say there will be no unveiling of any Kurzweil product this afternoon. So we'll be perfectly safe.
So we're going to switch computers here, and I am still on with it. Okay, good. What Dave is going to do then is he's going to be talking with you through the tiers of intervention about technology, and I think you're really going to enjoy this to kind of get a good sense of where we're going in relationship to the synergizing of print with technology. So, David, we're switching from, of course, a Windows machine, a PC, to a Mac. Let's see how this goes, yeah. I wonder. Yes, I wonder. This is going to be good. We can keep doing this. Claire, have a contest for the most creative eye something.
So that is not my screen.
Okay.
So is that somebody else's screen?
So that is that screen.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Does anybody have any suggestions on a button that we press for the the technology gap again? See?
It's already plugged in?
It is. Yep.
Oh, you're on Windows here, okay.
I can switch to Mac.
Do you have the PowerPoint on your Mac?
No, it's just on PC. Hang on. One second.
Because you have to change the way the screen is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Sometimes I impress myself. Whoa. Okay, so I did want to point out one thing, and that is that you may notice the slide's a little bit different from before. Anyone notice what the difference is? Huh? No. No. It's this piece. Well, actually, that is different. I hadn't noticed that. Yes, it's this piece right here. So Jackie, who actually works with our company, came down, just about slapped me into next week saying, why didn't you put Kurzweil 1000 on there? That's one of our products too. So for those of you that don't know, actually this is probably the more logical successor to the Kurzweil reading machine. And so Kurzweil 1000, of course, is software for blind or visually impaired individuals. Now, as we think about then addressing all the tiers of instruction, I want you to think of something else, and that is in addition to, and that is universal design for learning. Is anybody here not familiar with that term? Great, excellent. So this is actually just a little excerpt, but I just wanted to kind of show you that in addition to the kind of the triangle design that you heard Steve speak about, our view of the universe is simply that UDL is around everything. So UDL isn't just about curb cuts or equipment for people with special needs. The idea is, though, if you really think about solutions for all students, we don't really care which tier we're in. We don't care whether we're working with special ed students or students that are in that first tier. At the end of the day, the approach to designing the product, to designing curriculum or instruction, if it's applied equally to everybody, you might modify a couple of things along the way. You're ultimately going to reach all kids. Now, I bring this slide up for the simple reason that I mentioned to you before about San Diego Unified. Okay, so there's 117,000 students. Now, every single classroom in that district has an interactive whiteboard. Each teacher has a computer. It's a touch tablet type of computer. Every student has a netbook. Each netbook has Kurzweil 3000 on there, and it's being used by students for all sorts of things. So writing, certainly reading, study skills, and so forth. And all the time, the whole concept as far as their approach to training and implementation, which Steve's touched on, one of the things that will generally indicate success is where there is, professional development that's being done as well. In any event, so we'll come to the screen in a second. Let's switch to our tier 1. So this is our tier where we're really talking about kind of all kids. Now again, since I'm mostly knowledgeable, of course, in our own products, those are the ones I've kind of focused on as far as putting up here on the board. That said, there may be other ideas that you will perhaps be thinking of for other things that you're using. So if we look at then, well, I should ask, is everyone here familiar with both products, Classroom Suite and Kurzweil? Is there anyone here for whom one of these products or both is, you've never heard of them before? You're all clear. Great. So we'd mentioned, of course, before as well about our interactive whiteboard. So imagine that we're in a classroom now. So even if I'm a teacher with one computer and an interactive whiteboard, I can still reach all of my kids. I could be modeling on the screen. I could be inviting students to come up to the board and interact with the curriculum. If I had students for whom conventional access was not possible, so maybe I'm a student that's in a wheelchair, or there's something else that's preventing me from kind of coming up. That's, of course, where you can be looking at other devices then, like your IntelliKeys, or maybe an OrgCom device that's being used to drive the computer, so that those students can still be actively engaged in the same lesson, right? So we're not taking kids down the hall someplace else. We want to have everybody fully engaged in an inclusive setting. So I've given kind of a couple of examples. For those of you familiar with Classroom Suite, you might know where I'm kind of talking about here. But just simple things like going into the creativity tools. So actually, I kind of highlighted it down the bottom. One of the activities there in creativity is the ability to make a book. So there's this activity where the students can actually, if they're using their mouse, obviously there's other technology could be used instead of, but you can use the mouse to actually draw a picture. It's like using the kind of paint program in many respects. And then when you're ready to write, you just switch it over and say you're going to write your story. And now you can be using a keyboard, either an on-screen one that's part of Classroom Suite or a conventional keyboard, and start to type your story. Now, these are things that, again, you could be doing with any student. Imagine you go off on a school trip, a day trip with the students. And maybe you've taken digital photographs of the trip, and the students want to actually kind of create a project. So using something like the Make a Book or even the Storybook activities in Classroom Suite might be a way of doing that. If you've seen any of the new activities in the version 4 Classroom Suite, maybe the ones for math, you'll be familiar with some of the